Dear teachers, I'm a postgraduate student from Hefei University. My name is Wang Mengyuan. The topic of my paper is measuring Chinese bank performance with undesirable outputs, a select-based two-stage network DI. This paper is joint work with Chen Ya. He is my tutor, and Yang Jingyu. I will report my paper from the following aspects. The first one, introduction and contributions. And the second one is the methodology. In this part, we will introduce the establishment of the UVSBM model. And the third one is empirical analysis. And the fourth one is conclusions and future work. In order to offset the whole negative impact of the financial crisis and due to coping with the financial crisis in 2008 successfully, Chinese has played an active role in the world economy, and the banks are always the core for financial reforms and development. And in China, commercial banks are the basics for Chinese financial regulation. So it's very important to study how to accurately measure and improve the efficiency of commercial banks. And in addition, with the gradual acceleration of Chinese interest rate marketization reform, how to scientifically evaluate the impact of this policy on the efficiency of Chinese banking industry, and whether there are differences in different ownership types of banks is also a very important issue about our research. And on the other hand, in order to overcome many shortcomings of the traditional DEI model, many studies based on two-stage DEI have emerged. Moreover, non-performing loans are also an important byproduct of the bank's production system. So many existing scholars have conducted studies through the establishment of DDF or SBM model. But the above literature often ignores a problem, that is the performance improvement. This is very important in commercial banks' efficiency measures. So we further modify the variable intermediate measure SBM model, which is provided by Chen's research in 2016, and we propose the UVSBM model in this paper. Compared to existing studies, this paper makes contributions to the literature in these aspects. The first one, this paper investigates the latest Chinese bank performance during 2009 to 2018, which naturally complements existing literature on Chinese bank efficiency. And our analysis provide more accurate efficiency results and new insights for Chinese bank regulators. And the second one, we compare the distributions of estimated efficiency using the adaptive Lee test instead of using simple non-parametric tests such as KS test or KW test. This method is provided by Simon and Zinlink in 2006. And the third one, we use Chen's research to measure banking efficiency in the presence of undesirable outputs, thus it provides an alternative to existing approaches. And we noted that our model measures undesirable outputs under the assumption of weak disposability. And the first one, when measuring banking efficiency, our approach provides a frontier projection of optimal targets for each bank without assigning a weight of each stage or a directional vector. And the part 2 is the methodology. Before analyzing the specific model, let's look at the two-stage production process of banks. Since most of the research on the internal activities of the decision-making units is based on minimizing inputs or maximizing outputs, but nomadic inputs or outputs variables are all expected. But actually, it's very necessary to consider undesirable outputs. So, as shown in the figure 1, we can see in the stage 1 that is called fundraising stage. we take certain fixed assets, levels, and equity as their input variables, and to produce the total funding as their output variables. And in step 2, that is called the funding using stage, we take the total funding in variables as their input variables, as their input variable, to produce 3 output variable, that is loans, security investment, and non-performing loans. So this two-stage division is also a classical model that is called the deposit and loan business. This is very classical. We can see this picture in the first stage. In the first stage, that is M inputs, that is called Xij, and to produce intermediate measures, that is called ZdJ. In the second stage, we treat this intermediate measures as their inputs to generate 3 outputs, which is called joint desirable outputs, undesirable outputs, and non-joint desirable outputs, respectively. So based on this figure, we assume a weak responsibility for joint desirable outputs and undesirable outputs, which implies an opportunity cost of reducing undesirable outputs. Based on UVSBM model in trace research and the weak disposability, based on these two classical assumptions, we develop a slack-based model to measure the system efficiency. That is model 1. This model 1 is also called the UVSBM model. We can see clearly the lambda J1 and lambda J2 is represent the intensity variables, and this Z tilde DO is a variable. This is a very important assumption because in our next analysis we will use it again. When the Z tilde is a variable which could increase or decrease for connecting two substages. So this the constraint of 1b and the constraint of 1c is represent the intermediate measures. And this constraint of 1g is meaning that this model is establishment under the variable routines of the cycle. But we remember that this model 1 is a non-linear programming. When we calculate it directly, we will face many difficulties. So we transform it into linear programming, that is called model 2. We can see the phi J2 and psi J2 are represent the self-constrained. And from this model, we also get the CMO, that is called if and only if the model have an optimal solution, and EO star is equal to 1, and that is called unity. This model is UVSBM efficient. This thing is very important in our next analysis. In this section, we propose some properties of the UVSBM model. We examine the DEF frontier and the potential conflicts of two stages. That is, the first stage meant to increase its intermediate measures because this is as their output variables to improve its efficiency. And while the second stage meant decrease its intermediate measures because this is at their input variables to improve its efficiency. So to address this conflict, we transform above model 2 into its multiplier form, that is called model 5. We can see this constraint is negative omega 1 plus omega 2 is equal to 0. This constraint shows that the two weights are the same for intermediate measures. So the UVSBM model successfully handles potential conflicts of intermediate measures. We note that the two weights of intermediate measure may not be the same if Z tilde DO is a constant in model 1. But we remember that this Z tilde DO is a variable in above model. So this is the reason why we said that the assumption is very important. And there is another one, and is meaning that when the model 2 has an optimal solution that is called S star, S plus star, we will get the projection of the DMU is such as this formula. This time we will call this model is the UVSBM model insufficient. Based on model 5, the system efficiency of DMU is represented as this formula, and this part is called the S0, which is represents the system inefficiency. So this EO is represent the system efficiency, and similar, the first stage and second stage efficiency is called this formula. And this part is S1, that is called stage 1's inefficiency, and this part is stage 2, is called the stage 2's inefficiency. In model 5, the equality omega 1 is equal to omega 2 gives us that the system inefficiency equals to the sum of inefficiency of its two stages. This conclusion is consistent with the Chen's research in 2016. He claimed that the statement is important because the system efficiency can be improved by reducing its stage inefficiency. So next we could further obtain the efficiency decomposition of the system. That is this formula. We noted that the stage efficiency E1 and E2 may not be unical. This is based on Liang's research and Chen's research in 2016. We could easily obtain an efficiency interval for stage efficiency when the system efficiency keeps unchanged. So we ignore the detailed analysis in this paper. This part is the empirical analysis. According to the inputs and outputs selected by existing studies, the production process of banks was divided into fundraising stage and fundraising stage. The detailed information of the variables used in this paper is shown in Table 1. We can see the inputs and plus the intermediate products is consist of the fundraising stage, and the intermediate products and plus the outputs is consist of the fundraising stage. And in fundraising stage, we can see the X1, X2, and X3 as their input variables. And among them, the X3 is calculated by the sum of capital invested in the establishment of the business and the capital credited in the operation. And in fundraising stage, we can that the variables is called the non-performing loans, which is an undesirable output. And the source of the data in this paper is from the annual reports of 20 Chinese listed banks from 2009 to 2018, and these two databases. It can be seen from this table and this figure that all indicators showed an upward trend because between 2009 to 2018. Furthermore, from the figure 1, we can see in the inputs and the outputs cycle of all banks are increased significantly. And most notably, according to the Table 2, the total amount of non-performing loans are increased. So the traditional non-performing financial asset disposal model has become inadequate. So therefore, how to innovate the non-performing asset and improve the bank's operating efficiency is a very necessary issue to consider in this paper. And we can see in the figure 3, the employees increased is a little. That is relaxed with our with Chinese policy. According to the optimal solution of model, we can get the overall efficiency and the substandard efficiency. From this table, we can see the value of bank efficiency. We can see that the ICBC and BOGY are also rank first. That is meaning they are performing very best. And the CNBC and the HXB is rank just 18 and 19 respectively. This rank is meaning that they are these two banks are performing very. This table 4 and table 5 is from the rising standard efficiency and from the usage efficiency. From this table, we can see the ICBC and the ABC BOGY in from the rising standard is also ranked first, and the ICBC and the BOGY is in the from the using standard is ranked first too, and but the ABC is just rank 16 in from the using standard. Combining these two tables, we can see the ABC is just efficient in from the rising stage, and in from the using stage, this ABC banks is inefficiency. So we can know that the reason why these two banks, ICBC and BOGY, are the most efficient is that is because their standard efficiency is effective. So combining these three tables, we can see that the overall efficiency is not greater than its substandard efficiency. This picture is the average overall efficiency and substandard efficiency of banks over the time, and from this picture we can see that during the research period, the from using standard efficiency does not change very significantly, and from 2009 to 2011, this trend is decreased a little, and after 2011, you can see the trend is increased significantly. The reason is that the advancement of the marketization of long interest rate is conducive to the improvement of fund using stage, and results in a mild increase for the fund using efficiency. And we note that the overall efficiency and the fundraising efficiency trend is very similar. We can see from this picture that about 17% of the banks are all effective, which is reached at one, and at using stage, about just 16% of the banks are efficient at the fund using stage. However, it's worth noting that the cabinets in the fund using stage are obviously on the upside. That is because that implies that the efficiency of fund using stage is significantly higher than fund rising stage. This finding is very interesting compared to existing research. So in order to further analyze whether there is a significant difference before and after the acceleration of interest rate marketization, we use the bootstrap-based adaptive test to test the significance. And from this table, we can see the significance is very little. Unexpectedly, we found that the impact is not significant. To make the above conclusions more convincing, we use the adaptive test to further analyze the efficiency distribution between different ownership banks. That is SOBS and NJBS and CBS. We can see overall efficiency. The SOBS is higher than CBS and followed by NJBS. And the fundamental efficiency, the three efficiency is almost similar. From this table, we can see all types in fundraising stage. All types of banks reject the null hypothesis within a certain confidence interval, and believe that there is a significant difference between SOCBS, NJBS, and CBS. And in addition, the efficiency in final using stage and in the overall efficiency, the performance of these three types of banks is very similar. This is the frontier projection of the two-stage process. Based on this model, we can get the projection of inputs and outputs for each bank. Furthermore, we can also provide the benchmark for banks to increase the efficiency, like the results obtained by the existing research. So we, in taking the 2016 the 17 as an example to research, we can see that banks with overall efficiency equals to 1 do not need to change the value of inputs and outputs, like ICBC and ABC, CCB, IB, and BOSH or BOGY. The corresponding optimization cycles of other banks are available in the same way, but in final using stage is ineffective, and in the final rising stage is inefficient. They do not need to change the values of intermediate measure and final outputs, such as BOC, CMB, or HXB, and so on. So for other banks, they have to adjust initial inputs, intermediate indicators, and financial outputs to reach an infallible status. This part is the conclusions and future work in this paper. The advantage of the proposed method is that the overall and the sub-state efficiency can be measured at the same time. So the first conclusion is that the model results shows that the overall inefficiency is proved to be equal to the sum of sub-state inefficiencies. That is, the overall efficiency is no greater than its sub-state inefficiencies that is confined in our model. And the second conclusion is that the trend of final rising efficiency and overall efficiency was very similar from the research period, and only showed a signs of decline in 2011, after which they were all increasing, and the efficiency of final using stage was almost unchanged. And the third one, the overall efficiency and capital rising efficiency of SOBS are significantly better than CBS and followed by NJBS. And the fourth one, by calculating the frontier projection, we have provided reasonable optimal solutions for all banks, and provide the benchmark for banks to increase the efficiency. This is our future work in about my topic. First one, we do not evaluate the efficiency of rural commercial banks, but actually they play an increasing important role in Chinese banking industry. So in the future work, we can do this as a interesting introduction to research. And the second one, for future research, it could be further examined. For further research, it could be further examined to conduct cost or profit efficiency analysis for Chinese banks. And the last one, even we find a clear performance difference in Chinese banking industry, but the reasons are just given with the quantitative analysis and descriptive explanations. So in the future work, we can do this about more detailed. That's all. Thanks for your listening.